stop saying you're triggered. We are going to stop disempowering ourselves with that nonsense. Okay. That word is a buzzword that gets thrown around so much. We're going to talk about why you need to stop using it, what you're going to replace it with, how to find some peace. Okay. That's our whole goal today. And again, if you don't know who I am, Jennifer Sack, online wellness mentor, love helping wellness pros out there get back on track with their wellness. Because we get off track and sometimes we don't take our own medicine, and that does happen. But I love to help you get back in charge of your well being, of being grounded, to authentically embodying the peace in your life so that you can teach and lead others like a boss who walks the walk instead of feeling like a total imposter for maybe being secretly a hot stress mess. No judgment. All right. So I know all about this, even as a yoga and meditation instructor for over a decade. You would think that maybe I wouldn't be super subject to triggers, a word that we're only going to use for a little bit longer in this. But the fact of the matter is, I totally am subject to it, just like everybody else. You could spend a lifetime trying to work through the triggers. Actually, it's become quite an amusing pastime. If you use it that way, you can do what I love. Ram Dass has always suggested that you become a bit of a connoisseur of your neuroses. So instead of judging yourself every time you do something stupid, you just go, oh, there's that again. So you can literally become pretty amused with this practice instead of judging yourself for it and get out of the habit. So today I want you to do two things here. Before we get into that, if you're watching this here in my Stress Loop Rewire Community Live, laugh with me over the faux pas of not having my mic set up at first. And if you have a friend who would totally benefit from being in this group with us, I want you to invite them. It's more fun with a friend. If you're out there watching this on YouTube land, thanks so much, however you came across this resource, for sticking it out. You're going to want to stick it out because we are going to do that guided meditation in the end that's going to help you approach one of your own triggers and work through it. Stick with me for that because that's going to be such a great piece of the pie for you to start implementing these things. Now, today, I want you to try to do two things. I want you, one, to notice all the triggers in your day. And you know what? They're kind of repetitive. And by kind of, I mean like totally. We spend a lot of our time trying to control our outer world so that our triggers don't happen. We, do certain things to kind of curate our day. So I know these are super repetitive. They're things that bug you every day, but I want you to start to notice them as the day goes on today. So what are your triggers? What bugs you? What irks you? You probably know a few of them offhand, like you call them pet peeves or something, and then there's bigger ones. So start with the small, the low hanging fruit. Like, is it just like someone driving slow in the passing lane on the highway? Like, does that really get your goat? How about toast crumbs on the butter in the dish? And you're going in to get some butter and then you're like, ah, and then you start going rogue in your house, finding who who did that. There's all the little things, and then there's like really, really big ones too, and you know what they are. They're long-standing ones that probably happened somewhere down, could be far years down the road in the past that got built up, and now you're instinctively watching for these things, even curating your day to try and avoid these things from having happened again. So that's one thing I want you to do straight away today as a practice. Start looking at the things that are triggering you, whether it's the little itty bitties or the big ones that are like create a huge charge in you. Okay, and then as you look at your day, I want you to think about all the ways that you try to curate your day so that you avoid your triggers. So, do you take a different route sometimes so you could avoid driving past an ex's or the old workplace that you just can't even stand to think about? Is it sometimes maybe you put in earbuds at work or somewhere because you just can't stand the noise of something? It drives you bananas and you just have to do something to make that better for you. What are the things you do during your day to try and make nothing upset you? That's like a lot of energy spent. But I want you to start noticing where that is. Where are you applying those energy to try and just reassure that in your day nothing's going to happen that really makes you angry? Okay, so I love Michael Singer. Michael Singer is one of the mentors I I strongly recommend that if you're not already well versed in this stuff, that you just, explore what he has to say. A lot of my work comes from teachings from him. And he states that where we go awry is we waste all this precious energy, this Shakti in us, trying to control the outer environment so that our stuff doesn't get poked. Okay. So, what he means by that is that we have preferences. We have had experiences in our life that have created these preferences, these beliefs, these things that we basically either like or don't like things. We open and close all day long because we either like something or we don't. It's good or it's bad. And then we create all this time trying to push away and resist the things that cause us to close up because we don't like it, it's not our preference, or we spend a ton of energy trying to keep the things that make us happy. And he's like, oh my gosh, your preferences, your habits, all of this is to try and create like a predictability in your life, this reassurance that nothing's going to ever poke you, which is futile. It reminds me too of a time when I taught yoga at a privately owned studio. And the teacher listed all these words that I wasn't allowed to say in the class when I was teaching. And she had a great intention. She didn't want to poke people's stuff. She was a very sensitive person and she had had trauma and so she just, resonated with that and was being sensitive. So I'll give her all the credit in the world for that. But it was like taking it too far because some of these words were actual names of the poses. And so then I'm like, well, now I got to get creative with renaming things because I can't say bound angle pose because there might be someone in the class that had a traumatic experience somewhere with getting bound. Like it's like I could never in a million years know what everybody's experiences have been to know what to say or do to avoid pricking them, And I complied, but I was inwardly conflicted because I was like, how is this my responsibility and how can I possibly not offend people, and not know it? It's just one of those things. Um, Now, obviously, I'm sensitive to people who've been through trauma. I'm not a jerk. So that goes without saying. But what I'm saying is we cannot possibly be held responsible for knowing every little thing that could trigger somebody else. It's not our responsibility. It is not their responsibility either to know yours. So Michael Singer laughs. He laughs a lot. And that's one of the things I love him. If you ever watch one of his videos or even just read his books, you'll like pick up on his sense of humor. He has like this just insane energy of just like, oh my God, this is absurd, you guys. Let's laugh at ourselves because we're really being crazy here. And he says it's our futile attempt to avoid upsets all day that really is just it's laughable. Here's our body, trillions of cells in us, right? Doing their own thing without our consent. They just do their thing. There's nature out there doing its thing, going along just fine with our consent and our preferences and how we think they should do it. And yet we think that we're in control of our outer world, that we can control and refine our environment to never upset us. It is stupid. It's a waste of energy. There is like no way. You're not in control. Okay. So let's talk about what's actually happening when you get triggered. What's actually happening? We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about taking responsibility and ownership also. Stop passing the buck. That's something I don't ever tolerate. I don't like it. It's a preference. But it's also just really good advice. Where all the power lies. We're going to talk about where the power lies. Okay. And we're going to talk about how to use this experience to benefit you. Now, I do have a resource for you. Link is in the comments. If you want to just experience a little bit of this yourself, of releasing resistance. That resistance is blocking your energy. It's causing upset to your nervous system. If you can learn to just take things as they come, kind of that bring it on attitude, like I got this regardless, it's going to help you tremendously. It's going to help your nervous system and that's going to flow out into every facet of your life and help you. So grab my free resource. It's a guided audio, 15 minutes called Yes This Too. It's in the comments. Grab it, sit down, use it, start to implement this. So, okay, back to our first point. So what is happening? What's going on here when we get triggered? Now let's first make the agreement that we are Not going to say that word anymore. We're done. You're giving away your power. That is why. That's why I want to get rid of the word. You're totally giving away your power when you say, that triggers me. All right. No, we're going to replace it instead with the word activated. There was an energy within you and something activated it. It pricked a stuck energy pattern, and it basically ignited a spark within you. Okay, that's what's going on there. So, Michael Singer's work revolves around this completely. We are all a history of all of our experiences. We don't really realize this, but this is an energetic field that we're within. It's a database that has beyond the amount of information that you could even comprehend, every probability that ever existed, everything that did happen, that didn't happen, that could have happened, that, whatever. And everything that did happen is within your energy field. It's within this informational energy field around you. But many of the stuff goes very unnoticed because it was mundane. It really had no charge to it whatsoever. It was just, something that happened. One day you picked up a pencil and you wrote down this, and there was no reason for you to like log that, hang on, cling on, avoid writing with pencils for the rest of your life. But there are things that are high charge. So things that activated something in you. Maybe you were yelled at, you were guilted, you were shamed, you did something wrong, you hurt something traumatic happened, a threat, something very fearful, a shock. There was something that was a very high charge that happened. Now, those are the ones you remember, sometimes subconsciously. Those are the energies that get stuck. All the other stuff is just energy. It just flows out. It's there in the field, but it's not causing a ruckus. It's not acting like a lot of times he'll talk about, water flowing. But when you get these stuck energies of these high charge experiences, it's like putting a boulder in the river. And now all the energy has to like work around the rock. It's trying to move it. It's creating a disturbance, basically, at the end of the day. So every time you resisted an occurrence that was not your preference, or it was a threat or a high charge situation, this energy got stuck because you closed a little bit. So when we are open, source energy is flowing naturally. When we close, boom, blockage, literally like a little swirling pool of energy gets stuck. It's this boulder in our flow. And this is happening all day long. All day long. You are opening and closing. I like this. I don't like that. This was great. This was not. It's something you can actually watch. And I want you to start watching that. And that's what the first exercise I said, like, notice when you're triggered. What I'm really saying is notice what's happening in your energy field when you get triggered, when you're activated. There's a closing, there's a tightening, there's a tension somewhere within you. I want you to begin to tune into that and start noticing when things are flowing, when you're in flow state, or you're in gratitude, or in a great joyous moment, or you're like focused reading a book, you're doing something that you enjoy. Notice the flow of energy. That's you being open. So this can go way beyond the intellect of just looking at things like, I like that, I didn't like that, this triggers me, this makes me angry. It can go into an embodiment of really getting in your body and understanding how this energetically affects you, because that energy is what you're affected by, and what you use to manipulate, to grow, to change, to move that stuck energy. So you got to take it next level. All right. So here is the clincher too. I'm going to read you, and I really don't typically read anything from books on here, but I'm going to do it today because there's a really great paragraph from The Untethered Soul, Michael Singer. If you haven't read this book, I highly recommend it. Listen to this. Your eyes are cameras that send electronic images of the world into you. This is true of all your senses. They sense the world, they convert the information, transmit the data through electrical nerve impulses, and then the impressions get rendered in your mind. Your senses are indeed electronic sensing devices. But if the energy patterns that are coming into your psyche create disturbance, you will resist them and not allow them to pass through you. When you do this, the energy patterns actually get blocked within you. All right, so you're just a sensory input, like being sensory input coming in, getting transmitted, it's rendering the information, boom, it leaves, good, great, but it doesn't leave if you're activated by something, and that's what he's talking about. So here's the thing. All day long, things are going to happen in your environment. They're going to prick you. You might feel the urge to defend yourself. You'll feel a tightening. You might react. You might cry. There's all sorts of things. I want you to know that this is actually your cue to grow. Okay. So now that you understand what's happening, we got the basis of the knowledge of, okay, what is this activation? Used to be called trigger. We're not using that anymore. What is this activation? Well, that's exactly what it is. It's that energy that got stuck, getting poked, and a spark ignites in you. And there's lots of different ways this manifests in how you behave, what you believe, what you react afterwards. Well, we're going to start using this activation as a powerful tool. All right, so first you need to take responsibility and ownership of that. So that is why you will hear me say over and over again in my teachings that responsibility is actually response ability. It is the ability to respond appropriately in every situation. And you do have that, okay? And it is your responsibility to utilize it. The power is yours. And in this case, it's good to remember that it is your responsibility to manage your emotions. And just like it's everybody else's responsibility to manage theirs, okay? So you need to take that ownership and accountability. Know that the power is yours. And that's why you can avoid so much of the upset that our egos trap us into. Because what our egos want to do is get on our high horse and say, well, how could they say that to me? Or how could they do that? Or that is so stupid. What are they thinking when they're doing that? Like, don't they know? We walk around with our panties all bunched up because the world is not conforming to our preference, because they leave the panhandle open off the stove and like, how could they, how they're so stupid. Didn't they know better to do that? Because they set something on a shelf of the fridge that is out of your reach. How dare they not consider you? Like, it's literally all we do all day long is judge something. We're standing in line. The person in front of you standing too far away, like, oh my God, this big gap. Or they're too close to you, like, oh my God, like it'd probably be the person behind you bugging you more. They're either too close, they're too far away. You're judging everything around you because it's not exactly what you would like. It's not how you would do it. Like, get over yourself, honestly. Like, your ego is tripping you out here. It's creating this eternal state of fight or flight. So, just as it's not your responsibility to tiptoe around everybody's preferences, likes, dislikes, beliefs, patterns, habits, what have you, it's not theirs to do it either. Okay, so drop that. Okay, get over it. Get over yourself. I'm going to be blunt. So, as a human, we should definitely exhibit a level of respect. So this isn't in no means a total green light to go out there and be a freaking jerk. Please have some respect for people. Don't just go out there with reckless abandon and be rude. But what I'm saying is, be aware and don't be neurotic. All right. So you're taking ownership of your emotions. You're agreeing to do that. You're not going to give away your power all day long to everything outside of you. So here's the next step, where all the power lies. This is where the rubber meets the road. I love saying that all the time. This is how you move forward. And it's in the pause, the power of the pause. This is one of the most powerful tools. I will reiterate time and time again because it works and it's a magical, magical moment. The pause. So that's really about taking a moment before something happens, before you react, before you go straight to that thing. All right. So that is a magical portal, if you will, to be an alchemist because you've got something that's triggered you. It's poking you. You're getting activated and you want to react. You want to do what you've been trained to do. You've conditioned yourself to do for all these years. Every time that thing got poked, it's like A plus B equals C. And give yourself some grace because you have conditioned this for a very long time. So to break this pattern is not just like voila, one time you're cured. This takes some repetition. So that pause is a repetitious practice that you need to have. Pause. All right. And in that pause, you're going to ask yourself a few things. You're going to ask yourself, one, What's going on here? What's this signaling to me? Because here's the thing. I guarantee the activation is because it's on one side or the other of a pendulum. Michael Singer talks about this pendulum all the time, and I'll talk about that in just a second. But it's either you're clinging to something because it caused you joy and you don't want it to go away, or you're resisting something because it triggered you, activated you, you didn't like it, you closed. And so you're pushing it away. You're resisting or you're clinging. These are the two things. So ask yourself, like, what is happening in me? Am I resisting something? Am I clinging to something really hard? And here's the funny thing is no matter what, it all boils down to fear. You're afraid of something. You're afraid of that thing going away or you're afraid of that thing happening. So what is the fear actually of? So ask yourself that in the moment. Like, what is this? Now, here's the thing. Number two, you need to ask yourself, am I willing to let this go? Now, we're not always willing to do that. And the thing is, we get very attached to our own neuroses because they're comfortable. It's the same reason that people stick around in bad jobs, bad relationships, bad diets. They're comforting. Maybe we don't like the outcome, but we know what to expect. We know how to deal, and we're a little like, I don't really know what to do without that. And so we keep it. So there's a large part of growth that is you just being willing to let shit go. Like, are you really willing to let it go? We're afraid to do that. Sometimes the fear is just in the unknown of what if I don't react or say something to this? What will happen? I don't know. So you have to make the choice. Are you willing to release that? Even when you don't know what that might feel like, what the next thing might be. Are you willing? Third thing is really to ask yourself what you would prefer your reality to be. All right, what do I really want to be feeling right now? What do I really want to experience? So X thing happened. It poked my stuck energy. It ignited this feeling. I'm going to stop and I'm going to say, what is this really telling me? Am I clinging or am I resisting? And what is that the fear of? Okay. Am I willing to let that go? Yeah, I think I don't want that anymore. I think I'm going to choose peace this time. This time. This is foreign, but I'm going to try it. And then you're going to try out that third bit, right? What do I want my reality to be? So instead of reacting, instead of getting disgruntled, instead of yelling at the person that's driving slow and flipping them off, I think I want my reality. Okay, the peaceful version of me would not care, would drive on by instead, turn up the music, be like, poof, over it. What do you want your reality to be in that situation instead? And then I want you to move towards that. So, something very helpful to remember about all this is that we should really have some gratitude when we get activated. And instead of resisting the activation, which is in itself a resistance, embrace it. It is an opportunity for growth, and it's showing you something within you that it really wants to be released. This energy is like begging you to release it, it wants it. So, all these things that activate us are truly just reflections in our field of like, hey, we got an issue here. I really want to get released. Can you work on me? It's my turn. So, take it as an opportunity to do that. So have some gratitude when these activations come up. Now, something else to consider that I love, if you follow Wayne Dyer or you've ever listened to any of his works, you're probably going to be very familiar with him in talking about the Tao Te Ching. He followed it very closely. Lao Tzu wrote the Tao Te Ching. It's all about the Tao, which is also the way. It's the path of least resistance. So Michael Singer also talks about this. He says, hey, you know what? You can really liken this way to a pendulum and it's swinging. So first let's go back to the way. So the way is where yin and yang coincide, masculine and feminine coincide, dark and light coincide. It's that place, that balance in between. And he's saying if you think about it, you're clinging and you're resisting are like far ends of a pendulum. And it takes a wild amount of effort to stay in one side or the other, to manipulate that instead of just coming to the center, being in balance, letting go of your preferences, coming to that place of neutrality where you become a part of the flow of things. So, neutrality is where it's at. So, everything is neutral. Everything is. What really colors your world is your preference. Now, everything being neutral is a hard pill for a lot of people to swallow because they're like, well, how is death neutral? How is, starvation and all these horrible acts neutral? Come on now. That's a whole topic for another day. But in general, everything is neutral. It is the story we apply to it. It's the preference of whether we like it or we don't like it. All these things that we color it with, that we see it through our lens of whether or not it's good, bad, whatever, necessary, not necessary, that is really coloring all that. All right, that has been built up for every individual person based on their history. So no two people alike have the same idea, the same place. But if you can strip away all the preferences and all the stories and all the beliefs and all the narratives you tell yourself about every little thing that happens all day long in your world and see it as neutral and find the balance point in between, that's where you can start to come into flow and you're in the way, the Tao. Okay, so I know a lot of people will sometimes talk about that and go, well, great, that sounds like fun. Very unflavorful life there. No essence. We're just gonna, sit in this middle way where everything's neutral. I like when I'm happy. I like when good things happen. I like feeling my emotions, even if they are swinging. Great. Knock yourself out. Please do. But I want you to be aware of what that's doing to your nervous system all of the time. The swinging back and forth, that hard swing. Now, it's okay to toe the line a little bit in the middle. But here's the thing, what is that costing you when you are swinging so far from one side to the other? Are you just a wreck? Are you ruining your nervous system? Could you perhaps choose peace? What would that feel like? It doesn't mean you can't enjoy things. It doesn't mean you can't have a preference. It just means don't cling to it so tightly. Don't get your panties in a bunch and really ruin yourself and ruin your day, your week, your month. How many years have you been talking about the same ex-husband or whatever it is? Like you really just drop it? Maybe. And find a little peace. This doesn't mean you have to become some bland vanilla, no emotional being, okay? So, with all that said, I promised you that guided meditation. We're about to dive into that. So if you're still with me, bravo, stick with me. That's going to be amazing. But what we're going to do first is I want to make sure you're getting in my Stress Loop Rewire community so you get more goodness, more resources, so much connection, and ways to really just work through this together. We are all in it together. I also want to make sure you're getting that resource link in the comments of my free 15-minute Yes This Too Release the Resistance guided meditation. If you haven't already, grab it. Okay. So we are going to dive into the guided meditation right now. I want to offer you a little something before we do that, and that is simply to make this a successful meditation. I want a couple things. I want you to be able to get quiet. If you need to come back and watch this later on the replay to do so, that's fine. You do need to be in a quiet, uninterrupted state. And two, I want you to bring to mind something that does activate you. And I encourage you to not start with the big stuff. Dive in with the low-hanging fruit first, the little things. You can go for the gusto if you're like, no, I really need to work on this. I'm ready. I'm going to do this. Fabulous. It's a lot harder when your muscle for doing this hasn't been trained in terms of letting stuff go. So if you find that you're one of those people that has been working on that, can go through that, and you want to choose a bigger topic of something that activates you that's a little more high charge, go for it. But for most of us, we need to start flexing this muscle of releasing the resistance. And so if that's you, I would encourage you to choose a topic, something that activates you that's not so high charge. Okay, so one of the little like pet peeves or something, if you will. And it shouldn't take you long to figure out which one that is because it happens all day long in our environment. So just think of the things that you don't like that make you close, make you irk, make you react, all that. So pick one now. That's your first bit. And then I want you to close your eyes. So close your eyes and just start to breathe. like you weren't breathing. Continue to breathe, but I want you to slow it down a beat without forcing anything. Just see if you can elongate that exhalation just a tad more. And I want you to release all the muscles around your eyes. And I want you then to relax your jaw. Soften your tongue. And as if your arms got heavier, your hands lighter, drop your shoulders. Drag your awareness down into the lowest ribs. And I want you to feel them as they move, expanding as you inhale, contracting as you exhale. And notice the full circumference of your ribs as they move. Eyes still closed, breath is smooth in and out through the nose. Just picking up on that physical sensation of the ribs right now. And then drag your awareness down into your belly, and I want you to soften your belly. There is no need to hold it in, no one's looking. Let it be lax, let it move with your breath. Notice what happens when you release in the solar plexus, in the belly. And then move your awareness up into your heart space. Just let it sit right in the center of your chest. And I want you to bring into your heart, into your mind's eye, that situation, event, whatever it is that really activated you. And at the basis of that, we know it's a fear. There's a fear there somewhere. Could be the fear of a lack of control, a fear of loss, fear of the unknown, a fear of not being good enough. So as you bring to mind the fear that had activated you, I want you to start inquiring, what is this the fear of? So silently complete this sentence to yourself. It is the fear of. It is the fear of. Allow yourself to admit the fear that has been activated. Don't push it away. It's the fear of. And take a moment here and notice any emotions that might be in the body, any sensations. And just stay with those emotions, those sensations, and breathe. That's all you need to do right now. Don't run off into the next thing in your mind. Just sit with whatever is coming up and breathe. You don't need to do anything with the emotions or the feelings. Just stay with them. Just stay with them as you breathe. And silently repeat, it's the fear of. And then I want you to notice all the threads of fabric making up this fear. There may be some pictures or images, some memories. Just stay with it all and breathe. Breathe with your feelings. Most likely there's nothing new about this fear. Dig a little deeper. It's really the fear of And now imagine that all that fear could just drain right out of your body. So it wasn't inside your body anymore. If you need to imagine it draining from head down through the body, out the legs and the feet into the earth like a magnet, just drawing it out. Do that. Maybe it dissipates into the ether around you as you exhale. Choose a way that you can release this fear from your body. So it's not there. It's not there to fuel your emotions anymore. It's not there making it hard to think straight or intentionally or powerfully. With every exhale, this fear loosens its grip. The current of this fear is on its way out. It's just draining out of you with every exhalation. And it's safe. It's safe to be here. There is no threat. There is no problem. And as it releases, it's clearing the way for better understanding, for better perspective, for clarity. Sometimes fear is just a quick reflex. It's just trying to help you. It's trying to keep you from being hurt or rejected, from embarrassment. It's trying to keep you from feeling any pain. So it's okay. Give it some love and then let it keep draining out of you. Silently repeating on the in-breath, all fear, and on the out-breath is releasing. Let's do that again. Inhale, all fear, and exhale is releasing. Allow the palms of your hands to open up as you breathe slower. This current of fear drains out of your body and your mind clearer and clearer. Inhaling all fear and exhaling is releasing. And imagine you have released all fear and you are able to deal with life as it is. Whatever the situation, the challenge, as it is. This moment is really a signal to what? Finish that sentence silently. This moment is really just a signal to silently repeating that a few more times to yourself. This is really just a signal to And as you feel ready, just take a deep breath in through the nose and hold it at the top for a beat before just letting it cascade out the mouth. Do that again. Full inhalation. Fill all the pockets of the lungs. Exhale that out, every last bit, releasing any last bit of fear that might have been clinging. And open your eyes if you haven't already. I do encourage you to voice note, to write down whatever it is came up for you so that you can anchor it in. So you can reflect on it later. So you can truly let it go and know what that is telling you. What is that fear telling you? What is it the fear of and why? What's the fabric that made that up? What's it signaling to you? I really hope that that gave you some peace, allowed you to release, that you can use it for the bigger things and for you to really start employing those tools that we talked about. That when you feel activated, that you stop, you pause, and you ask yourself, what is this the fear of? Am I clinging or resisting? Why? What's the fear? Ask yourself, are you willing to let it go? And then finally, what would you like your reality to be instead? What would that look like? How would she move? All right. Please, again, join me in my Stress Loop Rewire community. Also, if you want to be one of the first to get your hands on my new 7-day energy reset that's about to drop any minute, or get yourself into one of my great free resources I'm super excited about is the Rewiring for Calm workshop. It's 2 hours of juicy information. Comes with a workbook. Again, it's free. It's amazing. If you want to get in and be one of the first to experience it, drop me a DM. I'd love to send that to you ASAP as soon as it's out within the next week. And beyond that, I just want to encourage you to allow yourself to drop the resistance. Stop saying you're triggered, you're activated. Work with it, empower yourself, become that alchemist. You are safe. You can move into that space. And beyond that, I just want you to make sure that you continue being awesome out there. You're so awesome for showing up here. Thank you so much. Don't ever feel afraid to reach out. info@jennifersack.com. And until next time, my friends, peace, love, gratitude.